Yeah, my name is Allard Laban. I am the Chief Creative Officer for Jackbox Games. I've been with Jackbox slash Jellyvision since 2000, but even before that, I worked at Berkeley Systems and I was the original art director for You Don't Know Jack in 1995. So
amazing.
I've got some roots with the company.
Can you talk a bit about how, I guess, as a game, it feels like it's evolved both with the nature of the industry and I guess just responding to the way audiences wanted different things. It kind of pretty quickly had a web game early on, as well as the CD version.
Yeah, so when we, obviously there was a moment that everything went from CD-ROMs to nothing for a little bit. So that was in the early 2000s, and that's kind of when the big platforms started to change, when people were moving to the new platforms and the new PlayStation, whatnot. And that was more of a hardcore gaming audience.
Yeah.
The casual gaming audience, the people that bought Millionaire and, I don't know if Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was popular in Australia.
It was a thing.
So we did a version of that for Jellyvision. I was actually the producer at Disney at that point.
Yeah, cool.
So I hired Jellyvision to make that game. And at that point, we kind of that whole business sort of fell off a cliff.
Yep.
And so Jellyvision we started to kind of look at different business opportunities, and we started an advertising agency. We did all these different things.
Yeah.
And then back in around 2008, when the Wii was starting to pick up, we noticed that people were buying casual games again. People who bought You Don't Know Jack might be interested in a new You Don't Know Jack. So we booted up the game company again. We hired a new general manager who's now our CEO, and that's Mike Builder. And that's when we kind of relaunched You Don't Know Jack for 2011.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, we did a Facebook game, which was a lot of fun to make. It took us a long time to figure out how to do for Facebook.
Yeah.
And then we realized it's really expensive to keep on producing content in a sort of freemium model. So we shifted gears and moved to more of the premium model. And that's when we launched the first Fibbage in 2013, 2014, that time frame.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting too, because we weren't really sure what the audience would say about it.
Yeah.
And we noticed that people started playing our game a lot on streaming networks like Twitch, TV, and people were playing with their communities. And then we were like, okay, there's something here. There's something about phone as a controller. And that's when we started to kind of double down on it. We created the first Jackbox Party Pack.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when it all started, almost 10 years ago, over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, we've had a couple of wins. We had the first wind of You Don't Know Jack, and then we've been lucky enough to get another swing at it with the party packs.
Yeah. Was it a slow thing, or was that moment when it was hey, here's the phone as the interface to a game so that anybody can sort of, and didn't matter how many people almost, was that a really good inflection point?
Well, we had this concept of using your phone as an interface to as a controller, and we actually first started it with a game called Lice Water, which we did a prototype of, and we played it in a movie theater with a bunch of people because we were really interested in trying to do movie theater type of work.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that we had a prototype of Fibbage that we played at the restaurant after we were celebrating our Lice Water event. And the waiters were like, what's this game you're playing?
Yeah.
And we realized that there's a real game here, and there's something about the ease of use that made it really accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
So Jackbox, we always try to think of our games as kind of mass media, kind of almost I don't know if Jerry Seinfeld was a popular TV show in Australia. So it's that is kind of our mentality. We want to make games that are kind of accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's we've tried to continue that with the party packs as well.
Yeah. So what do you feel makes a great Jackbox minigame?
A great Jackbox minigame, well, one, make a lot of noise in the room. That's how we always test to whether and greenlight games based on how much interaction, how much noise there is.
Yeah.
It's best if people are laughing. That's the best kind. But it could be arguing. It can be loud. So I think that, and I think a good Jackbox game also, the twist is that it's the players are putting their own ideas into the game, and that makes it feel like their own. So, and that's what gets people to come back, and that's what makes it different for every time you play with different people. You know, I think what we want to keep on doing is provide great games for people. Ultimately, you know, we've tried some experiments. Sometimes we're like, we should be cooler and make harder core games. And those, usually people are like, great, that's fun, but, you know, maybe it's not as exciting as like something as simple as Quiplash, you know. So I think what we try to do is keep on honing down, getting to those simple ideas. And I'm a big believer that, you know, you don't run out of ideas. It's all about how you execute them. So, you know, I don't think we should ever worry about the end or running out of anything, because there's always new concepts, there's new people to work with, and I don't know. I feel always pretty optimistic about how we can keep on moving forward. There are things that are coming up in the future, though, so we are experimenting with some different production pipelines as well, so you might be seeing some different kind of things from us, but still, you know, as accessible as possible, and, you know, making it easy to play. We've released a couple of new game packs, the Naughty Pack, and then we're coming out with the Survey Scramble, which is coming out in a couple of weeks. But this is the time when we're actually ideating for the next round of games. So this is my favorite time of year by far, since we are, you know, we do a lot of meetings and play tests, and it's fun people to play with and work with.